The loss to the Houston Rockets was not just another mark in the standings. It felt heavier than that. The score said 119 to 96, but the gap looked even wider when you watched the flow of the game. The Lakers did not just lose, they were outworked, outrun, and outmatched. And after the final buzzer, the questions were louder than ever. This is where Charles Barkley stepped in and said what many were already thinking. When a team drops 3 straight games, people look for patterns. The Lakers did not look sharp. They did not look connected. They did not look urgent. From the opening quarter, the energy was flat. Houston pushed the pace, attacked the rim, and played with freedom. The Lakers reacted instead of dictating. That difference shows up quickly in today's NBA. LeBron James finished with 18 points. For most players, that's a solid night. For LeBron, it feels quiet. It feels passive. This is a player known for controlling games, reading defenses, and shifting momentum. But against Houston, he never fully grabbed the wheel. The Rockets were comfortable. They were not worried about a late takeover. Charles Barkley did not sugarcoat it. He pointed out that the Lakers cannot guard anyone right now. That may sound harsh, but the film supports it. Straight-line drives were open. Rotations were late. Closeouts were soft. Houston players attacked the paint without fear. That is not how contenders defend. That is how struggling teams survive. Defense is about effort and timing. It's about pride. When one player misses a rotation, someone else has to cover. When that chain breaks, everything falls apart. The Lakers looked disconnected on that end. The Rockets scored with ease. They moved the ball, cut hard, and found open shots. It looked too simple. Barkley also mentioned athletic ability. The league is built around speed and wings now. Guards who can switch, forwards who can defend multiple spots, big men who can move their feet. If you cannot match that pace, you get exposed. The Lakers looked a step behind most of the night. LeBron is 40 years old. That fact matters. He is still skilled. He is still smart. He can still score and pass at a high level. But the burst is not the same every night. Sprinting back on defense, switching onto fast guards, contesting every drive, that takes energy, and energy fades with time. It is not disrespect to say that prime LeBron is different from this version. Prime LeBron could control both ends of the floor for long stretches. He could carry teams through rough nights. Now, there are games where he looks engaged and sharp, and there are nights where the body language tells a different story. One former teammate pointed out that LeBron's body language in this game was off. He looked frustrated. He looked tired. He looked like he was not fully locked in. When the leader's energy dips, the team feels it. That's how locker rooms work. The mood spreads. The Lakers started the season strong with a 19-7 record. On paper, that looks impressive, but the point differential told another story. The Lakers built this era around LeBron. They won a championship, they had big moments, but Los Angeles measures success differently. One title in 6 seasons is not a dynasty. The franchise history is built on long runs of dominance. The front office faces a tough decision. Do they keep pushing for one more run with LeBron as the centerpiece, or do they start thinking about the future? That is not an easy choice. LeBron still sells tickets, he still brings attention, he still produces, but the Western Conference is not forgiving. Younger teams are fast and hungry. They attack weaknesses. They do not care about legacy. They care about matchups and pace. When the Suns scored on 13 straight possessions earlier in the season, that was not bad luck. That was breakdown. When Houston runs 3-on-2 fast breaks without resistance, that is effort slipping. Effort and execution were the 2 words mentioned after the game. When both are high, the Lakers look good. When both dip, they look terrible. That inconsistency is dangerous in a playoff series. Playoff basketball is about getting stops late. It is about making opponents uncomfortable. Right now, opponents look comfortable against the Lakers. LeBron's presence also affects the timeline. As long as he is there, the team is in win-now mode. That makes a full rebuild impossible. You cannot focus only on youth when you are trying to compete immediately. At the same time, trying to build a contender around a 40-year-old star is complex. Every year, the margin shrinks. Every year, the physical demand grows. Barkley's comments were blunt, but they were rooted in observation.
He sees a team clinging to the past while the conference moves forward. He sees a roster that looks good on paper but struggles on the floor. The Lakers can still adjust. They can tighten rotations, they can commit to defense, they can play with more urgency, but that requires full buy-in. LeBron must set that tone. Even at 40, his voice carries weight. If he locks in defensively, others follow. If he jogs back, others slow down. The three-game losing streak may be a wake-up call. Sometimes teams need embarrassment to refocus. Sometimes criticism pushes growth. But ignoring the signs would be risky. The issues are not new. They have been visible under the surface. Now they are clear. The Rockets' defeat was not just about 18 points or missed shots. It was about identity. It was about effort. It was about whether this version of the Lakers can truly contend. Charles Barkley does not hold back because he understands what championship standards look like. He played the game. He knows when a team is drifting. The Lakers are at a crossroads. They can either recommit to defense and discipline or continue sliding into the middle of the standings. Middle ground is dangerous. It keeps you competitive but not dominant. It delays tough decisions. For now, the spotlight stays on LeBron, not because he is the only issue, but because he is the leader. Leadership comes with praise and blame. The season is long. There is time to adjust, but time moves fast in the NBA. The conference will not slow down. The Rockets sent a message with that 119-96 score. It's
A chase-down block, a statement performance that silenced everything. Now the responses feel quieter, smarter maybe, more measured, but not always overwhelming. That is the evolution of age. You pick your spots, you conserve energy, you think the game instead of overpowering it. The problem is, the Western Conference does not wait for you to pick your spots. Young teams run. They push pace every possession. They test your legs. They test your focus. They test whether you are willing to sprint back on defense in February like it is Game 7 in June. The Lakers cannot afford half-speed stretches, not with the way they are built. Luka and Reeves can score. They can create offense in bunches, but offense alone does not win championships. Defense travels. Effort travels. Communication travels. Right now, those three things feel fragile. And then there's the mental side. When criticism starts stacking up, locker rooms get sensitive. Every missed shot feels heavier. Every turnover feels louder. Every timeout feels tense. This is where leadership matters most. LeBron's voice in that locker room carries weight. If he demands accountability, it sticks. If he shrugs off defensive lapses, that energy spreads. Championship habits are built in moments like this, not in the finals, not under confetti, but in random February games when nobody outside the building is paying attention. That is when you choose standards. Charles Barkley's comments were not personal attacks. They were reflections of visible flaws. And sometimes blunt criticism hits harder because it feels true. The Lakers still have talent. That is not the issue. The issue is cohesion. Are they connected defensively? Are they communicating every possession? Are they sprinting back even when tired? Because fatigue is real, especially with a 40-year-old superstar logging heavy minutes. The coaching staff faces a delicate balance. Reduce LeBron's minutes and risk offensive droughts. Keep him heavy in the rotation and risk late-game fatigue. There is no easy solution. And then comes the bigger question, ceiling. What is this team's real ceiling? Is it a conference finals contender, a second-round team, or just a strong regular season squad that struggles under playoff pressure? Those questions grow louder with every flat performance. But adversity can also clarify things. Sometimes a blowout loss strips away illusions. It forces honesty. It forces film sessions that are uncomfortable. It forces veterans to speak up. This could be that moment. Or it could be the beginning of a slow slide into mediocrity. The margin between those outcomes is thin. The Lakers have enough experience to recover. They have enough talent to adjust, but they need urgency. Not social media urgency, not press conference urgency, on-court urgency. Loose balls,
hard closeouts, talking on switches, taking charges. Those details change seasons. LeBron knows this. He has lived through every phase of the NBA spotlight, from young phenom to villain to champion to elder statesman. The question now is simple. How much does he have left to give on the defensive end consistently? Because leadership is not just speeches, it is example. If he dives on the floor, others dive. If he rotates early, others rotate. If he sprints back, others sprint. If he coasts, they coast. The Rockets' loss was not the end of anything, but it was revealing. It showed that name value does not scare young teams. It showed that past championships do not guard the paint. It showed that reputation does not close out shooters. Only effort does, and effort is a choice every night. The Lakers are standing at a crossroads. They can treat this losing streak as noise, or they can treat it as a mirror. The next stretch will reveal which path they choose. Because in Los Angeles, being good is not enough. And when your leader is one of the greatest players in basketball history,